Hi everyone, today I'm going to introduce you to a reading by an author and psychologist, Warren W. Dyer, called Your Erroneous Sounds. This has been a book that has helped me a lot in the recent days. I feel that at times the book is related and has content like the other books that I have been reading in the recent months. However, I feel that this one in particular has a very precise way of highlighting those things that we can work on, and this doesn't mean that the book itself is in charge of making or marking or wrong areas to be better, but so we can become aware of those areas that we can get better on. This book is precisely about recognizing erroneous sounds that exist in us. The book is divided into some of them and has psychotherapy. It tells us about some of the actions that we can take to overcome them. The book is worth mentioning. It tells us that some of the things that we find and in it are called worms. And what is a worm? Well, in the book, at the beginning, it is said that a presenter put a worm in a glass of water. Then the worm struggled to get out. So the presenter put the worm in a glass of alcohol and the worm disintegrated. So he asked the people what conclusion do they come to. And someone replied, "It seems to me that if we drink alcohol, we will never have worms." So, many of the things in the book will depend on us, and we will associate them with different things, with certain personal things, with certain behaviors. Now we are reaching the part of taking care of yourself. This is a very important section since it calls into the question many of the things that we have been taught through our lives when we hear phrases like, "You made me feel bad." These type of phrases put the control of our feelings outside of us, because when we use them, we are not responsible for what we feel but the other person. The author urges to identify why we made the decision to feel angry in certain cases, and instead of saying things like, "What you did made me angry," perhaps say, "I have decided to feel angry about what you did because when I angry at myself, it's easier for me to control you and demand you don't repeat that action again." This is an example of the possible underlying function that our feelings have, and why we choose to feel in certain way. The external messages. Another thing that is very important to mention is that in all erroneous zones, there is an external factor. Whether this factor is what was instilled in us when we were just kids, what they taught us in school, or maybe just an invasive advertising. All the external messages have made us believe that we have no control over our feelings and our lives. Either because maybe an advertise tell us, "Hey, what would your friends think if they see you in those clothes?" It is a message that tells us that to be happy, we must seek the acceptance of another person, not from yourself, but from another person. Do not trust yourself. The messages that we see in our school are from childhood. These messages are: do not trust yourself, always check the things with someone else, maybe someone older, maybe someone with more power, someone with more knowledge, which might seems to be good when one is very young, but in reality, why should a kid ask his parents if he likes chocolate? There is a point where you are no longer able to recognize the person's own personality, because there is nothing left on the person other than seeking the other's complacency. We move to the part, who are you or who am I? Now I will talk to end one more erroneous area, such as not breaking with the past. Many of us, when we are asked, "Who are you?" sometimes We have a very long list of the things that we are. Maybe I say, I am Theo, I'm good at programming, I am bad at drawing, I like chocolate ice cream. And actually having this list isn't that bad, but it's bad when we set the limits through the phrase I am, because many times the phrase I am is just an excuse for change. Let's think, in this case, about the little girl Chloe, who goes from a very young age to painting classes, and the teacher tells her, "You are not very good at drawing." Now Chloe will no longer want to go to painting classes, but still, when there are things that involve painting, she will resist participating in them, and that will only reinforce the idea that she is bad at painting. Now she will grow up, and when they ask her about painting in her adulthood, she will say things like, well, in fact, she will say four things. I am bad at painting. That's how I am. I have always been like that. I can't help it. I think it's because of my character. So in her adulthood, Chloe will have integrated that she is bad at painting, as she will always be, and she can change that. Like if she were some kind of product that is finished and can be other thing than just that. This was a really interesting book. I like a lot. I learned a lot about the things that the book tells us and how the author uses real life examples of how the things tend to preserve what they think and they limit themselves to change and be what they have been all their lives. So just for a final talk, I'd like to say that I invite you to read this book. I think it is a book that everything that it says have some value and make us to reconsider what we have been making with our lives and try to seek for other paths in our life, trying to be better at certain things, trying to be independent and reach this point in the life where you are no longer tied to certain things or certain people, and you can start to living your life. So thanks for watching, and this was the book, The Erroneous Zones. Thank you.